Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Fru Nde Nkimbe. I am a subject of the Mankon Kingdom. Mankon Kingdom is in Cameroon, Central Africa. I am paying a loving tribute to His Royal Highness King Angwafo III, the paramount ruler of the Mankon dynasty from May 21st, 1925 to May 21st, 2022. His Royal Highness King Angwafo III of Mankon is the first African traditional ruler to proudly bring African tradition and culture across the Atlantic to the America and visited the city of Lowell and many other cities across this country. But in Lowell, its visit was very special because he presided and addressed the city council on 2 occasions and was inducted as an honorary member of the city council in Lowell. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud, very proud, a proud Mankon man, to remember our king who accomplished so much to raise African culture, Cameroon traditional culture, and in particular the Mankon culture. Relax and watch. Thank you very much. Ngwa manko kumga ne Fru Nde Nkime ma dorti tanka bama ega anenga we ewu sambie fo anye fa zamba were fa ana mbie fo anen tambi ifo ambu ushe Africa ba alorne mbom manko ntom genezere la America winye were fa ntanka nge mankun tere Cameroon tere ngushe atere ma watinga ananta anuza shini ama wote ninga edi samba were genu abugna wo so were ye anye fa zamba afana abugna ya ngu were ye ngami ya afa zamba were afana doru chentemme tanka materne to mu mankuma bu fa zamba mbie fo agna ambo bugna bituma abugna dorka kan wata were ishine shumtalang ishitin nche
to Worcester to welcome His Royal Highness Angwafo III Mankon. We're very excited to have you here today because it's a special day for us, especially as the person who's responsible or who we look up to in Cameroon, Mankon to be more specific, is here with us today.
Madam President, members of the Mankon Cultural and Development Association, ladies and gentlemen, I have been called upon to perform a blessing rite by the President of Nakuda. By the customs and traditions of our ancestors, we live as a community. We work as a community. But I know in America here, the people are more individualistic. I'm glad to see that we are not only united by our customs and tradition, by appearing in this uniform before me. I have no doubt that our traditional principle of unity, of maintaining our culture, our custom, is upheld by those of you who have left Cameroon and are resident in New England. We strongly believe in Cameroon that a people without culture are a lost people. Our culture is as good as any other culture. And by living among the Americans here, practicing our culture together, and by their encouraging you to live here, practice this culture, I have to congratulate you for doing that. By our tradition, the first thing you give a visitor is water. If you have no food, it is water. We believe that water is life. And in the tradition of our people, the greatest blessing comes with water. There's no poor man, there's no poor woman who cannot draw water from the fountain of nature, the stream, even the river. And there's nothing we eat without water. And so we grow because we take water. The plants grow because they take water. I am pleased to observe that the elders among you are bringing up the children in the right way, to be united and to observe those good aspects of our culture and to combine them with the good culture that you may find among the Americans here in the US. With this water, Makuda will prosper. It will grow. You will prosper. You will grow. The water we have in Mankon is the same water we have here. And so by that token, I stand here following the customs and tradition of our ancestors in this blessed land that has harbored you in peace. And as you know, we also respect peace and unity in Cameroon. You have to demonstrate that in the way of life here. All being equal, God will accept our prayers and you will prosper.
Song, Mankon.
I will now
My name is
want
Philip
to
Lees. I coordinate the Africa group. And today we have a very special guest from Cameroon. For students of Africa, one of the first things we learn is to be careful how we refer to Africa. And we find that the attempts to generalize often comes across more like stereotypes than really. The Republic of Cameroon is almost unique in revealing its mixed colonial experience by having both English and French as its official languages. To introduce our speaker, I call upon Professor John Fabanjong, Professor of Political Science at the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, Director of the African and African American Studies program, who will introduce our.
We in New England decided to treat you to the visit of the king of Mankon in Cameroon. This is probably going to be the first time a Cameroonian king, an African king, gives a talk here on campus. The founder of Mankon, he's actually lived in 4 worlds. He's lived in the colonial world and in the post-colonial world. He's lived in the traditional world and in the modern world. In the colonial world, he interacted with British colonial administrators in Africa. By training, he is an agronomist. He's the first college-educated king in Cameroon. And thanks to his policies and thanks to his love of agriculture and the push for the Green Revolution. It is actually in his hometown that Cameroon's democracy was born. Historic in the sense that he embraced tradition, modernity, and been able to marshal both, and using that to help lead his people in Mankon, and then of course help lead the people in Cameroon. Let's welcome him once again.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you and bring to you the greetings of Cameroon. I thank you for giving me an opportunity to meet you, to talk to you, to listen to you, and take something back home in the interest of my people. Here in this country, your leaders elected, but in my own country, I hold the office by inheritance. Some of you may not have visited Africa, but one thing is sure, that Africa had for many years been colonized by European countries and divided the continent in spheres of influence. And in my own nation, for about 100 years under the colonial rule, much was not done. Cameroon was a mandated territory after World War I to be administered by the British and the French. And after World War II, we agitated for independence. By 1960, we were given independence. First, it was that part administered by the French that had independence in 1960. The part administered by the British were to have independence on the condition that they chose whether to remain part of the protectorate, the British protectorate of Nigeria, or to reunite with the French sector. And in 1961, we opted for reunion with the French-speaking Cameroon. For the first time, we had access to make friendship with other countries. As you know, we had diplomatic links with your country. We have an ambassador in Washington, D.C., and you too have an ambassador representing you, your interests in Yaoundé, the capital of Cameroon. The king is appointed by the outgoing king. So I happen to have been chosen among my brothers and sisters, the only one to take over from my late father. And for the first time, the king of Mankon is illiterate, passing away and giving to a literate son. So I happen to be the first literate king of Mankon. So I'm very happy to be among you to explain to you and probably clear some of your doubts if you ask a few questions of how, since I was enthroned in 1959 as the founder of Mankon, how have I survived? You can imagine in the other country, particularly from the northern region where I belong, there was only one hospital and one primary school. So you cannot rule without understanding the new setup, the political setup. So I was compelled to add to what is already a heavy responsibility. I had to contest and be elected into parliament, where the laws to administer the country were being drawn. I couldn't be indifferent. If I were traditionally to administer my people according to the customs, the traditions, and the culture of the people, with this new setup, copied from the ex-European masters, definitely there will be a problem, there will be a conflict. And I thought the best way to move forward is to marry the two systems, and also to get even those elected to understand. Most of them elected are commoners. They don't know anything about kingship. And allowed alone, there will be friction between kingship and those who are to rule the country then. So a marriage was necessary. I took the initiative to join in politics, to advise, to contribute in the debates, and to point out what must not be touched, what could be changed. From 1960 to 2007, I have played the role of a traditional ruler according to the customs and traditions of my people. I have played the role of a leader of my council. I have played a role, a very important role, to keep peace in Cameroon. as you may have heard, many countries in Africa have wars among themselves, or one country against the other. Thank God we have been able, up to this time, the kings of Cameroon have been able to assist the government to maintain peace since we had independence. To use our traditional ways of living together to solve problems that would have, without us, blown up into war. I've also found out that since America was not involved in the colonization and we have no animosity against America, this is a fertile ground for friendship, and our children should find this place good enough. Okay.
Mbe.
Mr. Akin.
Ukubona Mbe. Hello, my name is Fru Nkimbeng. I'm originally from Cameroon, West Africa. We are honored by the visit of His Royal Highness, Fon of Mankon, also known as King of Mankon, visiting the milk city of Lowell. His Royal Highness visited Lowell the first time in 2002, and he was welcomed by the Honorable Mayor Rita Mercier, the Honorable Councillors, and the city manager, and also made an honorary citizen of Lowell. So he came this time, and he thought it was very good that he visits Lowell again to chat with them and also to talk to the people of Lowell. His Royal Highness will be addressing the council session at 6:30. So we'll just have a brief interview with His Royal Highness to tell us a little bit about his travel to Lowell. Welcome to Lowell, Your Royal Highness.
Thank you. Well, this is my second visit. The first visit was in summer. This is the first I've come to see what snow is in this part of the world. It's still the same place I visited last, but the snow has made a big difference. I was freer when I came here at that time, but this time I'm compelled to stay indoors because of the snow. So that is the big difference I've found now. Now, my first visit was to know America and Loy for the first time. I'm coming a second time about 5 years later because I want to know a little more than I knew the first time I came, as we intend to establish team relations between my own council and the Council of Lower. And the difference I find too is that the mayor I met, just as I left home, I learned there was an election here. We have a new mayor. And it's a good idea. I will know the present mayor. And my friend I met, the last mayor, I hear is the deputy governor. So there's quite some changes here.
Your Royal Highness, that was in Worcester, the mayor of Worcester. Yes,
he was the mayor of Worcester. He's now deputy governor. And the mayor of Lower is also changed. So I have found changes in personalities, but for good.
Thank you very much, Your Royal Highness. Your subjects and many Cameroonians and Africans are in Lowell. In Lowell, Lowell is a melting pot, a city of culture. We celebrate the Asian Water Festival, we celebrate the African festival, and also we celebrate the folk festival. Your Royal Highness, you are custodian of our African culture. What will you tell your subjects, the African community, and in particular, the Cameroonians who are living here in Lowell?
Well, this being my second visit, if I was not impressed during the first visit, I wouldn't have come again. And the second visit is not the last visit. I come because I'm happy with the way my subjects are received in Lowell, in the universities, the schools here, and in the community. I will advise Cameroonians or Africans as a whole who are resident here to make this their second home. And also, I would like the Americans to also make Africa their second home, and in particular, my own country, Cameroon. We have very good relations. We have an embassy here. My government is very friendly with the Americans, and the government in particular. We expect that some of the advantages we'll have from you is that you also come home. Our homes are different from yours. Some of your technology can be transferred to our homes, our nations, and in my fandom in particular. So I thank you people, the Americans, for receiving our subjects here as brothers and sisters. And I'm expecting to receive Americans too in my kingdom. And also hope that they may bring their technology to come and help us, because America is far more advanced than Africa, which got its independence just a few years ago from colonial rule. So I expect to harvest much from my visit.
I'd like to use this opportunity to thank you very much for the warm welcome that you have given His Royal Highness in Lowell. And we do hope that His Royal Highness will take very good memories back to Cameroon. Your Royal Highness, you're very welcome to Lowell.
Oh,